All right. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Welcome back to our Clearview Township Council meeting for Monday, January the 13th, 2025. This is our first meeting of 2025, and we want to again wish everyone a very happy new year and hope that we have a great, prosperous season for all of us here in Clearview Township and our neighboring communities. Council, I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people of Canada as traditional stewards and caretaker of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Tiatanati, and the Wendat, and is the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask the Creator for guidance in all that we do. Again, the land acknowledgement is delivered by myself, the mayor, and it's my privilege and honor to do so. I do so voluntarily, saying that. So for the members of the audience, council has met at about 4:30 for a brief in-camera session. So we're picking up on our agenda at item number 2. And at this point, before we begin the full agenda, I just want to mention to members of council and the audience that we do have His Worship Mayor Scott Anderson in our audience today. So Your Worship Mayor Anderson from Adjulatos, nice to have you here, and thanks for joining us here today. We're going to be passing or looking at a resolution a little bit later on, and the mayor's here to show his support for it. So that's why the mayor's here. Council, we're going to go to item number 2, which is approval of the agenda recommendation. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated January 13, 2025 as presented. Mr. Deputy Mayor, Mr. Broderick, thank you. Any questions, additions, subtractions, amendments? Nothing? I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. At this time, we have the declaration of pecuniary interest. If any member has any items that they'd like to declare. All right, seeing none, if anything comes up during the meeting, please bring it forward. We'll deal with it right away. Excuse me. Our next item is item 4, which is our public participation period. First of all, we do have some members in the audience here, so I'd like to turn to our electronic participations. I'll ask our deputy clerk if there are any electronic participations.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, there were 3 submissions, and they have been printed and placed in the folder in front of you for tonight's meeting.
All right, thank you very much. I have 3 submissions here that I have. All members of council received these questions as well. And so for the benefit of the public, I'll just summarize what these questions are. First question comes from Mr. Chris Waldy. He's asking a question about reducing taxes in our community and what can be done to reduce property taxes. And he claims because every year they continue to go up. Well, first of all, Mr. Waldy, the public meeting about the budget will actually be held on January the 27th. It'll be part of our regular public meeting process. It's part of our regular agenda. That was set just later last week, I think it was, we decided that we would go with the 27th, working with our Treasury Department. So that's the date that we will have a public meeting, and your question can be asked at that time if you wish. I would advise you, though, that, in your questions about taxes going up, everything in our world is going up in price, everything. And so your municipality is no different than anybody else and any other homeowner. We also have to deal with the expenses of running our municipality and do it well. So that's where we are at this time. We're doing our best to keep our tax increases at a manageable level. Okay, moving on. Next question comes from Mr. David Witzka. Mr. Witzka wrote regarding the Clearview.ca website. He doesn't see any postings about a public meeting in the near future or any idea when one will be held. And also, will it be widely promoted? As I just stated, January 27th is the public meeting. It'll be part of our regular council meeting as it's an agenda item on our regular council meeting. Mr. Witzka, you've asked this question before, and I'm glad to advise you once again that this is the date for that public meeting, which will be the public meeting for public comments for the budget. Our third public submission comes from on electronic submission, comes from Mr. David Witzka as well. Mr. Witzka makes an accusation here about a secretive advertising agreement. And he says secretive as it was negotiated in closed session. Now, before I go on, I just want to clarify for Mr. Witzka and for anybody else, this is not a secretive agreement. And certainly any agreements that we have to have with third parties are negotiated in camera. We do not do negotiating in open public sessions for anything, and neither does any municipality. If you're doing negotiations, you must have the privilege of having a closed session so that you're not negotiating with yourself in an open public meeting. Mr. Witzka's further question brings on a question about the cost of our advertising agreement that we set up with the Creemore Echo newspaper. Some of his information is incorrect in here, so I'll not read it into the record, but I will look to the CAO to help us understand how we got to the agreement with the Creemore Echo. Mr. CAO, would you be able to respond to part of that?
Thank you, Your Worship. Council will recall about a year and a half ago, Metro had decided it was going to stop with its print circulation. And there has been an increase in newspapers struggling in Canada, mainly because of online content and other means of communication, Facebook and other mediums that are used. In municipal government, it's always been the case that we would advertise and communicate to the public on our webpage, but mainly through the local newspapers if they exist. And in this instance, the only local newspaper in print form is the Creemore Echo. So our discussions were really about extending their circulation. They went from approximately 3,600 homes to almost 7,600 homes in circulation. And as a result of that, and the cost of circulation is where they entered into an agreement with us where we basically have provided roughly about $600 a week to assist with circulation. It works out to be about $30,000 a year in additional support that we provide to them. We had an earlier agreement that we've built upon with them with this. And the whole idea is to make sure that our citizens get reliable information weekly from a local newspaper. And that's why we've done this. And it's a year-to-year thing. We did it last year. We're doing it this year, and we'll evaluate it again to see whether it continues. But the type of community that we have, they go to the Echo where they can, and they voice their opinions, and council sees that. So it's a way for people to give feedback to our council and a way for our council to give feedback to the citizens. And that's really the primary reason, if that helps answer that question.
Thank you very much, Mr. CAO. I appreciate those comments. I will add one further comment, and that is, well, a couple of points. First of all, we are very blessed as a community to still have a print media in our community. And we're very fortunate that the Creemore Echo does send reporters to our meetings. Sadly, there isn't anyone here tonight, I believe, from the paper at this very moment, but I'm also very glad that we do have some type of media coverage. And, you know, as a media, they have the opportunity to write stories from their perspective, and that's what they do. They write stories from their perspective. I would also suggest that I'm glad that we have this local media, along with our other media partners, like there's some radio advertising in our community, and we've even had some other television advertising with our local CTV network here as well. So I think we're in a good situation here to do that, because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to take my news from Facebook. And I know there are many people in our community who do, particularly the author of this question. So that's enough of that. And I'm not prepared to answer any more questions about this agreement. If Mr. Witzka has any concerns about it, I refer him directly to the CAO, as he's the person who's managing this agreement. All right. We have an opportunity now for the public to participate. So I'll read the script here that says, be advised that comments and views expressed under public participation, period, are not the views of the Township of Clearview, Council, or its administration. Public participation is limited to 15 minutes. Each person is limited to 5 minutes. Questions or comments are to be directed to the mayor, and questions shall not refer to personnel matters, litigation, or potential litigation, or planning matters that have already had a public meeting or any item considered confidential. And as always, please remember to share the time with your fellow citizens. So the microphone is open if there's any member from the public who wishes to come forward forward to speak, please come right up there to that microphone right there. Yeah, I think Chris is going to make sure the microphone's working. We don't leave it on all the time because the darn battery goes dead in it. So there you go. Okay. Hello.
Hello there. How is that?
Good. Thank you.
Good. Good evening. My name is Christine March. I'm a full-time resident of Creemore, a long-serving board member of the Creemore Horticultural Society, and an active member of Simcoe County Master Gardeners. Before moving to Creemore, I was an active member of Toronto Master Gardeners and Toronto Botanical Garden. I have been a serious gardener for almost 40 years, and over those decades, I have seen the world of gardening evolve and change. When I was first starting out, gardens were all about conformity, manicured lawns, stately trees, clipped shrubs, and flowers, of course, maybe the odd tomato plant. Gardening concepts such as biodiversity, environmental awareness, and pollinator-friendly were unknown. Flash forward to 2025, and we see a much different gardening landscape. Today, we understand at a much deeper level how important our private and public green spaces are in terms of not only our physical and mental health, but also to the health of the tiny creatures that help sustain life on Earth. The beloved late environmentalist E.O. Wilson once described insects as, quote, the little things that run the world. Professor Doug Tallamy, an esteemed entomologist at the University of Delaware and the author of numerous best-selling books, reminds us that insects are at the heart of the food web. Insects, in other words, are essential for our own survival. The fact that insect populations are in serious decline around the world is a grave matter that should concern us all. It is in the spirit of robust, progressive community education and action that I invite all of you to attend an important panel discussion next month. Entitled Boulevards, Bylaws, Butterflies, and Birds, the discussion will be hosted by the Clearview Sustainability Network and will feature an impressive roster of experts, including well-known writer and environmentalist Lorraine Johnson, Shannon Stevens of the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, environmental scientist and local resident Brenna Lattimore, and two members of Clearview Township. Flip the page. Amy Can, who is, of course, Director of Planning and Building, and Dan Perot, Director of Public Works, who I see is here tonight. We invite all of you to come and learn of the many benefits of healthy, pollinator-friendly gardens and how governments and communities can adapt to support these essential systems. The discussion will take place on February the 6th at 7 p.m. at Creemore Station on the Green. Doors open at 6:30, and of course, all are welcome. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in Creemore on February the 6th.
Thank you very much. Sure, that we'll be happy to receive those. You can send those around. Sure, go right ahead. Send them right around. Oh, you only have 4? Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could make sure we get a copy of that and we can get that, make sure it's just, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Are there other members of the public? Please come right forward.
Hi, I'm Alan Riddle. I'm a resident of Clearview, but
Nice to see you again, Alan.
typically live in Creemore. And the first thing I was going to say, I wasn't aware of the advertising agreement with the Creemore Echo. I agree with your comments. I support it wholly, and with dollars being so tight, I understand the pressure on every dollar you spend.
Absolutely.
But I'd have to say that, $600 a month to support printed paper media in our community is worth every penny of it. And to double their circulation, I think that's a good way of spending our tax dollars. So thank you. And
thank you for that. I appreciate that.
The other thing I was going to say, so I've been researching and reading the official plan through the whole process. And one comment I'll make, now that we're in 2025, it is very hard to find the new official plan, because when you look at the website for the official plan, you get the one from September 2001 still.
Oh.
And then when you go deeper into the draft official plan, you get the April one.
Gotcha.
And then when you go further and you go into the under the official plan adaption, you can actually find the official plan that was Clearview Township official plan as adapted by council on May 27th, 2024.
Right.
So it's very difficult when you have three different documents to make sure you're referencing the correct one if you're making any comments or suggestions or anything. So now that we're in a new year, could we move the official plan and forget about the 2001 that's still floating around there?
Do you want to just stay right there, Al, for 1 second? I think that's excellent. Can I ask Amy Can? Amy is online. Maybe she can turn on her camera. Hello, Amy.
Hello, Your Worship.
There you are. Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. Nope, we're not hearing her. Is the audio not working? Or is she muted? Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
No, we're not hearing her. Maybe there's something not connected. Darn it, we didn't test this before the meeting. We did. Oh, well then. I tell you what, Amy, you can just smile and nod and agree with what I'm going to say. Listen, Al, we're going to get this looked after right away because it's an updated information and want to be available on our website. So absolutely. And thank you so much for pointing that out because, you know, it's not something that I go refer to every day as far as on our website. I have actual paper copies of this stuff in my office. So thank you very much. Amy, I'm sure you can talk to our communications staff and get this sorted out. Is that correct? Big nod. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Now that you have an award-winning official plan.
Well, yeah.
You got to put it where it's accessible, you
The
know?
award's on her desk. I saw it just today, by the way. I saw. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, we don't have Amy's audio. We don't have the, did we get the approval on that?
We did in
We did? November? We haven't got it back yet though, right? We have got it back. Okay. I'm glad to get these things organized right away. Yes, Dan.
Your worship, I do know that there was, I believe, 4 appeals on the official.
There were
plan,
4 appeals.
So
yeah.
that may delay the official adoption of it.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Is anything further for public participation period? We've got a nice crowd here tonight, but I'm just looking around. No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for your comments. I do have a quick question, if I can, in regards to your meeting. And I'm not sure, is this going to be recorded? Your meeting of your panel session? That would be excellent. That would be excellent. Only because I know for sure there will be members of council who are definitely out of the country that day. Okay. All right. Well, you got a little bit of time to sort that out, but I thought I'd just ask if you're going to have it recorded. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Council, we're going to move on in our agenda. I'm going to have to change my glasses so I can read this. I have an appointment with my optometrist to get my new bifocals, so well, that'll be a good thing. At this time, we have presentations or delegations and presentations. We have our Briar Kelly, who is our Community Economic Development Officer, and I believe she's seated at the side table at this time. We're going to invite her right up here to the podium, and you can present your presentation here, Briar. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. First of all, to get the year kicked off in the right way, we're going to talk economic development right away. I appreciate that very much. So I know you've hit the ground running, as they say, and you've made a big impact already around here. And so I appreciate what you're doing. So please bring forward your report.
Absolutely. Hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Yep, fantastic. And do we have the presentation ready?
What's up?
To His Worship and members of council, good evening. For anyone who I have not had a chance to meet yet, my name is Briar Kelly, the Community Economic Development Officer. Next slide, please. As a relatively new portfolio for the township, Clearview Economic Development is dedicated to supporting businesses and community organizations from across the township as a whole. Together, through partnership and collaboration, we can grow as a sustainable community, optimize development and commercial growth, and support employment growth across all sectors. Next slide, please. Today, I am here to present the latest initiative from Clearview Economic Development. With participation from His Worship and members of council, we will be launching the Clearview Business Insights Tour program. The goal of the Clearview Business Insights Tour is to provide council and staff members with firsthand insights into the operations, challenges, and contributions of local stakeholders, local businesses, and community organizations. By visiting key sites and engaging directly with stakeholders, council members will be better equipped to make informed decisions that reflect the needs and priorities of the community. Next slide, please. The program framework is fairly simple and direct. Step 1, business owners and community organizations that are interested in hosting a tour will contact the Clearview Economic Development directly through our new page on the Clearview website. Ideally, we will see a diverse range of businesses and organizations that reflect Clearview's economic and social landscape, including agriculture, retail, manufacturing, nonprofits, and cultural groups. Step 2, our team will coordinate with the host to confirm details such as the time and date that are suitable for all attendees. We expect these tours to last 1 to 2 hours, but may be subject to adjusted hours based on the operational needs of the host. Council will be notified of the confirmed tour date and location through our calendar invitations, and primary attendees will include His Worship, the ward councillor of the house hosting business, and myself, the Community Economic Development Officer. Additional councillors are welcome to attend, and any further Clearview staff may attend on a case-by-case basis. Step 3, council and staff attend the tour. We know that no 2 tours will be alike, and we anticipate that it will become standard with each tour that the hosts will want to discuss their business model, challenges, and their successes. We will build in timing to allow for photos, Q&A, and open discussions. And step 4, host tour. This will be our opportunity to share the photos and findings through Clearview social channels and other mediums. Additionally, the information and discussions gained through these tours will highlight opportunities for storytelling and other initiatives that will demonstrate the positive contributions to the community that have been conducted by the host. Next slide. The outcomes and impacts of this initiative will be evident as the program grows in popularity. We can expect to see these site tours enhance and open up direct communication channels between council members, staff, businesses, and community members. Council and staff will also gain firsthand knowledge of local business operations and concerns that will aid key decision makers in creating policies and initiatives that align with council's strategic plan and the needs of the community. These site tours will also open new economic development opportunities and promote awareness of our local businesses. The knowledge gained during this engagement will identify gaps and challenges, ultimately guiding future strategic planning and investment. And by highlighting the stories and work from our local business community organizations, we will see greater community engagement, connections, and support across the township. We will also see an increase in the ability to support local growth and a better assessment of the effectiveness of council initiatives. Through these on-site tours led by the business owners and organizations, this is an opportunity to enhance mutual understanding, foster collaboration, and support economic and social development within our township. Staff are ready to launch promotions for this program as soon as possible. And next slide, please. And looking ahead to this year, we are excited to execute a number of new projects and initiatives. In partnership with the Clearview Chamber of Commerce, we will be hosting a Business After 5 networking event on January 16th at 6:30 p.m. Calendar invitations have been sent to council members, and we just ask that you RSVP as soon as possible. In late January, we will also be launching the first Business Insight Survey. This survey will allow staff to gain a stronger understanding of the business and community organizations within Clearview and understand their employment levels, their challenges, their operational structures, their market and revenue generators, of just a few of those key data points that we will be generating. And the Creemore Streetscaping Project will be held in partnership with the Creemore BIA, with further details coming soon. We have also secured a seat at the County of Simcoe's Agricultural Working Group and are looking forward to supporting the agricultural sector within the region. And finally, and most exciting to me, we have launched the Clearview Economic Development branding, which includes an economic development page on clearview.ca, our printed materials that council have in front of them as well, and the creation of the Economic Development Now newsletter. And more recent, since submitting this presentation, we are also exploring opportunities to showcase our local BIA with the Ontario Business Improvement Association Conference coming to our region in late March, early April. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kelly. I appreciate this report and this information. We look forward to that tour for sure, and all the other programs that you're running this year. It's going to be a busy year for sure. Members of council, do you have any questions to our Mr. Van Staveren has something for you?
Thank you, Your Worship. Brian, it's great to hear this. I can speak back of several years ago, the mayor and myself were on our economic development team at that time, and we were fairly successful in running some events and the Olympic relay here and stuff like that, and it got put us aside, so it's nice to see it. It's going to be operational again. Couple questions. With the tours that you're planning on doing, are they going to be strictly for council and staff, or are you looking at opening up to the public as well?
Through to you, Your Worship. They will be strictly for councillors and staff. It'll be mostly for our own fact finding, as well as that relationship building directly with the business. Will be some opportunities in the future as we get into more strategic planning. And this is where that survey will also aid us in starting to develop that strategic plan from an economic development lens, where we really just need to find the data right now. We need to get a better understanding of who our businesses are, what their challenges are, and then that will start building out what that future planning will look like to see if there are opportunities where we can engage the public more, but also looking at it as a showcase for these businesses as well, where we can post-tour, get that information out, share those stories, and then if they choose to take things a step further, when we want to open things up a little bit more to the public, that's something we can explore at that time.
Okay, that's good. Second thing, I'll speak for myself and I'll speak for some of the councillors. Please reach out and ask us, especially the councillors, for their own wards. We know a lot of people in this community, and I can tell you straight up from especially the agricultural people we have in this community, I make one phone call, you'll have all the tours in the world you want. So do not think you won't have tours. You will have tours if that's what you want, because this community is very generous in offering support and to know what they can do to help. We're a very vibrant community. Also, as the rep on the Simcoe County Federation of Agriculture, you've obviously reached out to the Simcoe County Ag Department side of things. We do have a tour coming through the top end of Simcoe this coming year as well. So please reach out and we can possibly look at doing some stuff together. But going back to my original comment, ask and we will help you. So thank you.
I think it's excellent. I think it's a good point. And to the deputy mayor, I would say, I think the project objectives here would be to see what those local businesses are, struggling with. We want to hear from them directly as council and through staff. And I also want to see what successes are happening, that they're having success with. And so part of Briar's comments in her presentation were about the effectiveness of council programs. So that's something we want to talk about. And one of them that comes to mind right away is we've had this program for many years, the CIP program, where we have this improvement fund to help businesses with their front doors and facades and lighting and so on. And we want to find out if that's actually been effective. So I would hope that we can schedule some of the smaller businesses that have had opportunity to use some of those grant money and have that just to check in on them and see how it's going. Yeah. Because we want to be supportive of our businesses, obviously, and that's what economic development can do at this stage. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, Deputy Mayor.
And those are exactly what the purpose is. The other thing I'll add to it, we belong to some of the other groups in this community, the Center for Business Development, I've sat on for 25 years. So to find out and to let our businesses know what we're there to help, sort of thing. The other thing I'll reach out, and I mentioned it to the mayor and some of the councillors the other day about it again. We have sort of looked as a council, trying to be more open and stuff, about holding meet and greets with the council. So you're welcome to incorporate us and bring our councillors in to say, hey, we're going to have an open house. Bring the council in and you can meet them at the same time for those who don't know us. So there's so much opportunity here.
Yep. Coffee with council is something I want to schedule for the spring here for sure. Yep. All right. Any other members of council with any questions? All right. Nothing? Mr. CAO, have we had an opportunity to review some of the programming and workload that Briar's brought forward as far as whether it's impacting our budget and will it work out well with the budget that we have for 2025. These are great programs. I wasn't sure if this was something that had already been included in our 25 budget.
So right now, yes, everything is within budget.
Okay.
We're trying to expend from 2024, the budget amount that we didn't use as much as possible, but we'll keep the same. It's a $50,000 budget.
Yep.
And we'll keep it within budget.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome again. Good job. All right. Council, I'd like to just do a technical break for a minute. We just need to check in with Amanda Murray, as Amanda Murray is going to be presenting a little bit later on. Amanda, can you hear me? We didn't get this checked with her. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Measures. I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. Now we can hear you too. So that's good to know.
Perfect.
All
Great.
right.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you soon.
All right. We'll check in with you a little bit later. Thank you. Okay, Council. At this point, we have item number 6, which is called public meetings. I just want to point out for people that have been watching since the beginning of the meeting, it says right here, public meetings. So that's item number 6, and it's actually on our agenda where we have public meetings as part of our regular council meeting. Sorry to be a little over enthusiastic, but I want to be clear that public meetings are part of regular agendas. There are no items for public meetings tonight. Council, item number 7 is approval of the council meeting minutes. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the minutes of the December 2nd, 2024 council meeting and the December 4, 2024 special council meeting as presented. Are there a mover and seconder, please? Deneen and Beelan, thank you. And any questions on the approvals? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries unanimous. Item number 8 is our correspondence, if any. I don't believe we have anything specific other than the items that are here. Under 8.1, we do have an in-camera report. And so as I mentioned earlier, council did go to in-camera. We have a motion coming out of in-camera. I'll read this recommendation, then I'll look for a mover and seconder. This is recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby appoint the following applicants to the Nottawa Memorial Community Center Board: Reg Smart, David Steed, and Michelle Woods, and that council direct staff to amend appointment bylaw 22-101 to add these appointments. Ms. Deneen, the mover, is there a seconder? Mr. Walker, thank you very much. Any questions on this? I wish the new board all the luck, and we'll be there to support them, right? Council, all those in favor? And that carries unanimously. Again, thank you very much. There is only one other item on here for correspondence, and that is the NVCA board highlights from December 2024. Do you want to say something about that, Paul? You're our member there.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. With some excitement and some news, we'll say, we saw the retirement of our CAO, Doug Hevener, who has attended this office on numerous occasions for presentations. So it's nice. We wish him well in his retirement. Carrie Jenkins, who will be our acting CAO, and most of you received a press release today. There has been one sent out to announce her appointment and also to welcome the new initiatives of the NVCA in streamlining and promoting the speed of response and everything else. So give Carrie, if you have any issues, she's a very good woman, and she's been here as well. Very good at her job, and we look forward to having her as the interim CAO. And going forward, the board will be reviewing for a full-time person. So anyways, that for the rest, the highlights speak for themselves. We continue to get notifications on high waters and ice and stuff like that. Watch out for fragile ice right now is the big thing. We see that melting and thawing is causing some issues along the river. We do hear stories about snowmobiles going through the ice at Georgian Bay again this past weekend. So please be careful.
All right. Thank you very much for that. If there's nothing further in that category, we're going to move to our council and ward reports. Mr. Walker, you'll be happy to know that Mr. Broderick is starting this time.
Thank you, Your Worship. I thought I started last time.
Well, I moved the arrow. So
Okay.
the arrow is now going that way. So
All right. December 4th, attended the council budget meeting. December 11th, attended both the Clearview Santa Claus parades in Stainer and Creemore. On the 10th, attended the Clearview Chamber of Commerce executive meeting. The 17th, the Clearview Library Board. Trying to decipher my own writing here. That's bad. December the 13th, attended the Crime Stopper flag raising at the hub. Later on this week, on the 14th, will be the Clearview Chamber of Commerce executive meeting. The 16th will be the Chamber of Commerce Clearview Township BAA Business After 5 meeting that Briar was talking about at the Sunnydale Small Hall, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone there. On the January the 19th to actually, I've been saying December, haven't I? Sorry about that.
Maybe I should have gone to Walker first.
Yeah, maybe you should have. Yeah. January the 14th will be the Clearview Chamber of Commerce executive meeting, and the 16th, the BA Business After 5. On the 19th to the 21st, coming up next week, will be the Roma Conference, and the 22nd, the Library Board meeting. And on the January the 25th will be the Clearview Chamber of Commerce Business Awards evening. And that's it for me.
All right. Thank you very much, Councillor Broderick. Councillor MacArthur, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Your Worship. Thank you. December 17th, myself and Miss Kelly attended the initial meeting of the Creemore Streetscapes project. And we've got a diverse group from the community, from the BIA, and all around. So we're looking forward to meeting with a lot of people, and the consultants we've hired for the initial step will be coming around and getting input through the next 2-3 months, and we'll see where this leads to the development of the main street of Creemore. And later that day was the evening hall board meeting. We are glad to hear that the hall is coming along fairly optimistically, that we should be open in spring 25 at some point. And we're anticipating bringing back the famous beef barbecue in July as possibly a grand reopening event. So keep tuned for that. And on January 10th, Log Cabin Committee meeting in Creemore, and a couple events, big one planned there for the May 2-4 weekend, Queen Victoria's birthday, obviously. And we're going to try to have a bit of a celebration and whatnot on the Saturday of that weekend. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, would you like to go next?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just want to talk a bit about our ward stuff, and then I would like to reserve the right to come back to talk about county a bit
Sure.
when we're all done. We all had the Christmas, went through the Christmas functions. I think we did 3 Santa Claus parades and 2 tree lightings. So we did get our feet warm, cooled and walked and everything else. So
Cooled off. That's
yeah,
for sure.
it was nice. January 4th, I had the opportunity, we all got an invite. I went over to the township, to the community center for the cyber gnomes. And it was really neat to go there and see what they do. For the cyber gnomes, we traditionally think that it's just about robotics and stuff like that. Not the case. And yes, the presentation was about the building of the new robot. Now, the story on that goes, all around the world, there are 2,700 different clubs. I say that right, Councillor Watt? 27 or 37? 2,700, I believe, the right number. 3,700. There used to be more, but after COVID, a lot got taken out. All over the world, at 12 o'clock on that Saturday, January 4th, an announcement was made of what the rules were for this new robot. And they have to go and pick up a package in Toronto, and they've been distributed, and they get certain parts they have to work with. And so this part is just one component of what the cyber gnomes do. The second component, which really came to light, was about leadership, teamwork and stuff like that. And it was really nice to see this group of young people working towards it. And they're from all over our community and beyond. So it's not just for Clearview. And it's something that it's given a lot of kids opportunity for jobs, because you gotta remember, in our community, or in our area, we have some major high-tech industries and stuff like that. It's given some kids some great opportunities. One of the things that was asked about me, and I extended a leaf, we'll say, to look at the possibilities of coordinating some of their activities with our youth center. So as the year goes on, I think there's opportunities, and we'll be talking some more of it, especially as we find a new home for our youth center and stuff like that. But there is a component of the Cybernome activities that is just phenomenal. So I'll let Councillor Walker speak a bit more to it if I haven't taken too much of the thunder. But anyways, it was really good to see. The other thing today we did was the flag raising, and I will talk a bit about that in our council discussion, if that's okay, Your Worship.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And we will come back to talk about the county. Let's go to Councillor Janine. Hello, Phyllis.
Hello, thank you, Your Worship. I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone and welcome to the new members of the Nottawa Hall Board. And
Yay.
thank them so much for volunteering, and that I look forward to working alongside of them. And that's about it for me. Nothing different that hasn't already been mentioned. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Councillor Abeelan. Hello, Marty.
Hello, thank you, Your Worship. December 4th, attended the budget meeting, and then in the afternoon, I attended the OPP Huronia West Board meeting. That's the second one we had, and we'll be attending another meeting in the near future. It looks like we'll be able to make some progress there and learn what the OPP is planning for our community. December 7th, attended all the Santa Claus parades. They were fantastic this year, I thought. December 18th, Station on the Green meeting. Everything's well at Station on the Green. January 8th, the Climate Action Committee was supposed to meet, but because of the climate outside, we didn't meet. It was rather stormy. So that's set for next Wednesday, January 22nd. Today I attended the Crime Stoppers flag raising. I thought that was really neat, and I think they need to apply for some money from us. We'll be attending Roma this coming weekend, and I want to remind people Winterama is coming up. It's going to be a good one. We have snow.
It's going to be great. Thank you, sir. Councillor Walker. Hello, Robert.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hello to you too. Some things have already been mentioned, but I will just expand on the January 4th Cybernomes. The reveal is called Reefscape. But what it does is it's as Paul said, that they get their components, then they start to build. But from that meeting on Saturday, they were going back to the shop to discuss how they were going to build what they needed to build to do what it needs to do. But it creates teamwork. And we talk about teamwork all the time. And this is huge teamwork as far as design, as far as build, and as far as operation. And you have students there from say 12, 13 up to high school, last year in high school, working together to build and to compete. And so it's a great learning curve for all of them to work together, teaches teamwork and working together and solving problems. And this Cybernomes team has built theirs from ground up all the time. They have totally built their own machine. They totally repair their own machine. And so they can problem solve if they have to. And they have been asked at various competitions to help other teams problem solve, because some teams do not get the opportunity to build, but just operate. So this team is respected throughout the robotics, and it's in our own hometown. It's in our own township. And the hats off to the leaders, to the mentors. They've done a great job over all the years of building this team and keeping it to the level that it's at. And financially, they certainly need assistance, and they get it from various service clubs as well as some of their own fundraising efforts.
following that, I went to the initial mat bowling on January the 6th at the community center.
Yeah.
I did not bowl, but I watched 16 people, and that's all we can take because we only have 2 mats. Again, team build, learning to help each other, showing people how to bowl, showing people that the ball has weighted side, one side's weighted. So that's the way you do to curve it. Explaining the game, teaching new people. It's those that, it was just amazing to watch that develop. And I didn't get up there today, but I understand that they had to turn people away today because they didn't have enough, we don't have enough mats. So that may be something that we might need to expand upon. I think it's a great indoor for the wintertime for not only seniors, there was some 40, 50-year-olds that were off that day, were there right up through, and I think the oldest was 94. The gentleman was 94 that was there, and they were just helping each other. And then they had a bit of a quick game and really enjoying their time indoors at our facility. And I think it's a great thing. So Terry, to the committee, to the youth for moving that forward. Thank you. And hopefully maybe we can see what we can do for more mats, because obviously it's, I think it's going to be that way for the winter time. And then the 13th, we're at the Crime Stoppers flag raising today, and we have accessibility tomorrow and library meeting next week on January the 22nd, which is the Wednesday, not the Tuesday. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay. Thank you very much. I've got a few items I'd like to bring up. I regretfully missed the carpet bowling event, and I do want to get up and see how that works. I would definitely want to do that. So Bob, remind me, call me next time. We'll go up together. Okay. Thank you. Council, I have been asked on Wednesday this week. First of all, we're going to be at County Council on Tuesday, but I've been asked on Wednesday to attend along with other delegates across Simcoe County region to meet with the Minister of Finance, Minister Bethlen Faldy, to discuss the provincial budget. And so I've been given an opportunity to speak directly to the minister, as well as staff from the Minister of Finance, as well as I believe there could be other ministers from the cabinet attending. I was at the one last year, and there was like 3 other ministers from various ministries that were there, but I've been given that opportunity, and so I'm going to take 3 minutes of their time and talk to them about the importance of rural Ontario and how budgets from the province, we need to have a better working relationship and how we can balance this budget between the province and us, and how we can all work with the one taxpayer who has to pay all this. So that's one of the themes I'm going to be bringing up. So that's kind of interesting on Wednesday. On Thursday, of course, it's a busy day. I have ahead of me the Niagara Escarpment Commission meeting on Thursday. It's going to be the first one for the year, obviously. We did not have a meeting in December, so as a result, it's a full agenda, Niagara Escarpment issues. So I expect I'll be finished that meeting around 4 o'clock and then go directly over to Sunnydale Community Center Hall for the after 5 with the chamber. I hope that you all can join us at the Sunnydale Hall. It's a good opportunity for all the business community to get together, obviously, John, but it's also an opportunity for us at Clearview to show off the Sunnydale Hall, because it's been fully renovated. It looks amazing. All reports from the volunteers, they love it. The elevator is a really useful thing for taking things up and down the stairs that are super heavy. So that's a really useful thing to have. And so I look forward to that. And thank you very much to Briar again for helping to set that up. So those are the things that are on the books. And then, of course, as mentioned earlier, many of us are going to be attending the Roma conference. So we'll be there at the Roma. We do have a delegation. Sorry, Deputy Mayor, but we do have a delegation with the Minister of Agriculture. You're going to be away and not be able to attend. So you and I are going to have a quick briefing tomorrow to talk about that. And we'll put a package together for our Minister of Agriculture on that. All right, let's talk briefly about the county. Paul, you'd like to discuss something about the county? We've got a county meeting coming up tomorrow.
So many of you have heard scuttlebutts in the news and different discussions in the news. And one of the biggest things with county council right now is governance. And prior to the meeting tomorrow, back in October, we approved November, we approved or recommended the implementation of a full-time, we'll call it warden, let's call it chairman of the board. And to lay the groundwork, anytime that there is a change in governance, we have to get approval, a triple majority. I can get into all of that, or the mayor can, but we have to go back to the province and get approval. Now, in the meantime, we've got a recommendation or request for reconsideration in tomorrow's meeting. And one of the big things is we have three options. One is to stay with the 30 plus one. One is to stay with our existing 30 members. And the third one is to go to a 16-member plus one, being the chairman council. So we're going to be in discussions with it. I've talked to most of our council about it because it will be coming back to our councils to approve at a later date. But there will be some discussions tomorrow at county in this regards. This item has been going on for over 20 years. Prior to ourselves being in council, our predecessors dealt with it 20 years ago, the same concept. So it's a very contentious item. And as I say, 16 plus one, basically, right now, for those who are listening at home, there are 16 municipalities, not including Barrie and the city of Orillia, 16-member municipalities, and we have two representatives, one being the mayor, one being the deputy mayor. Going forward, that may be reduced to one, and in all likelihood, it would be the mayor or his alternate. So we are very looking forward to it. There's a lot of reasons for it. There's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, and the discussions going forward about it. There's also a bit of a discussion about the salaries being recommended for councillors. Right now, this councillors in the same thing in the county of Simcoe have not had a pay raise in 20 years. And in order to attract good people, better people, maybe better than ourselves, Doug, it's hard to say, we need to bring the wages be competitive. And this is not for ourselves. This is for the coming councils coming forward. So we're dealing with some of this stuff. So if you hear a bit of this stuff in the news, it's going to be an interesting issue. And I'm sure the CTV will be there tomorrow, putting us over the coals one way or another. But it'll be an interesting discussion to have, and it will be coming back to council at that time. So Doug, I have one more comment to make, but then you can take over. In our notices we've been getting from the county, I don't know if everybody's aware, but in Wasaga Beach now, a warming center has been established with the Faith Missionary Church, the town of Wasaga Beach, and the county of Simcoe. So if we have members in our community, that going forward will be our local closest warming center for people who need it. So keep that in mind. If we have a situation, it is now going to be open. And I also mentioned to Terry earlier that the sports and recreation grants are available now for the county. They've come online, are coming open now as well. So he explained to me they're on top of that. So I just mentioned it to any other community, the organizations looking at it. So I'll throw that back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. I just want to finish on that conversation in regards to governance. One thing that I think it's important to note, the deputy mayor did mention it, and that is that a triple majority needs to be sought in order to make a change at the governance level. And so what the triple majority means effectively is that each lower tier municipality will have a motion brought forward to them through the clerk's office. It'll be a report from the county asking for this council to support the county's recommendation. And so each of you will have the opportunity to vote on that motion, as the mayor and deputy mayor also here at this local level. So that's the second part of the triple majority. So each council will have an opportunity to vote, and when majority rules, whatever the result will be, it'll be presented to the county as either in favor or against the recommendation. The third part of the triple majority will be that each individual councillor and mayor and deputy mayor across the entire county of Simcoe, there'll then be a total vote for all elected officials. So they're going to record, that'll be a demand recorded vote that will have to be recorded such that they have the opportunity then to look at every single elected official in every municipality, including our friends at Adjula Tosserano, that they will have to be able to put together a full majority of every single possible person who is a councillor, mayor or deputy mayor. And then they'll create a majority from that as well. So thereby, that's how a triple majority works. If you've heard about that, it's a little complicated. It doesn't happen very often. I had a long talk with the clerk's department at the county about it, so I think I have a better understanding about it now. It's taken a while to really get the nuances on how, first of all, as the mayor, you would chair that type of discussion at your local level, as well as to respect the fact that there's a demand for a recorded motion. It's not something, and normally in our procedures, someone from council brings forward a recorded motion request, right? So that's something that's just a little bit different, but I'm sure the clerk can work with that. So anyway, we're looking forward to this. It'll be an interesting discussion over the next little while. And we'll see where this all lands. That's all I have from the county. Looking forward to a big day tomorrow. All right, we have a couple of items to get to. Let's move on with our first one here underneath department reports. This is the Friends of Winterama community contribution request. And so the recommendation says, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PCR 001-2025, the Friends of Winterama community contribution request dated January 13, 2025. And item 1, that council approve the Friends of Winterama request to contribute from the 2025 Winterama Reserve $2,000 to the Sunnydale Firefighters Association to go towards fundraising efforts to purchase the original antique fire truck. Okay, can I have a mover and seconder on that motion? Mr. Beelan, thank you. Mr. Beelan, thank you. And Mr. Walker, I'll take you, Mr. Walker, former firefighter that you are. Let's see here. I believe, is it Amanda's on here? Amanda, hello, Amanda. Welcome back again. Amanda Murray's here, our manager for Recreation Services. I hope she is still there.
I am still here.
Hello.
Hello.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. There we go.
Okay. We did check audio and oh, there we go. Good evening, Mayor, Measures,
Hello.
Member of Council. Hello. Happy New Year to you all. This report is more of a formality. It is a requirement under the terms of reference for the Friends of Winterama, which is the volunteer-based committee that our department works so closely with. From time to time, we get requests from the community to support initiatives and projects. This was something that obviously is near and dear to the Winterama volunteers. So Mr. Jeff Caldwell, on behalf of the Sunnydale Firefighters Association, asked if proceeds from the spaghetti dinner or from the Winterama festivities for this year could be contributing towards the original antique fire truck that they will be bringing back to Clearview Township, specifically to the Sunnydale Firefighters Association down in New Lowell, with the hopes to refurbish it and to have an antique fire truck on display. The volunteer committee felt that this was a very worthy project, something that we can definitely get behind, and certainly a longstanding appreciation to the volunteers that contribute to Winterama every single year. So our request on behalf of the committee is to fund this initiative for $2,000.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for that. A good review of the report and the initiatives that have been put together by the association. Are there any questions to Amanda or Terry or even our chief for that matter? Mr. Beelan, I see I'll give you the benefit first, then I'll go to our other counselors. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Is that on? Yeah. I just want to comment that it's a nice project. It will be a nice looking thing in New Lowell. We should, once we get it fixed up, we can use it for the false alarms.
Officially the false alarm truck. Okay. Thank you. Mr. MacArthur.
I'm just curious, I don't know who can answer, what is the truck, what year and what is it or where's it coming from? Yeah.
Scott, do you want to speak to that, Chief?
Thank you. Through your worship, I don't really have any details on what the truck is, but I can tell you they found it in a field outside of Thunder Bay somehow.
Yes, Mr. Beelan.
I believe it's a 1974 truck, I believe, and it was in Thunder Bay. And they didn't pay much for the truck, but the expense was getting it shipped back. So.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, shipping of a vehicle like that would be expensive. I can appreciate that. Mr. Broderick.
Actually, Councillor MacArthur asked my question, so.
There you go. Well, I can tell you that I understand it's already here in our township as we speak, that it arrived over the weekend. The deputy fire chief Kevin gave me a heads up that it had actually had arrived, and they rolled it off the flatbed and it rolled fine. So it's not seized up, if you know what I'm saying. That's a good start. And so it's been put into one of our firefighters' shops, and they're going to begin their task. So I think it's a marvelous project for the group to have that, and we'll have to follow along. Yes, Mr. Broderick.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I've been down that road a couple of times through the Shrine Club. We had a 65 Mercury fire truck, and we currently have a 1948 Seagrave with a 94, sitting on a 94 chassis,
Okay,
just so we can get parts for it.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll get an update from the volunteers down there as they move ahead with this project. Yes, not to be forgotten, mind you, is we have a 1941 International sitting at station number 4, which you may have seen in the Santa Claus parades. It still comes out every once in a while. That project is it's a roadworthy vehicle, but it's not finished yet. They still have a lot of appointing to put that vehicle fully into, antique shape. But it's a good looking machine for sure. So, all right. If there's nothing further, we have a mover and a seconder. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Good luck, and thank you to all the volunteers at Winterama who put on such a terrific event every year. Look forward to it again this year. And thank you, of course, to our volunteer firefighters. And that moves us to a very important report we have next, which is from the Emergency Services. Council, I'll read the motion. I'll look for a mover and seconder, and then we'll get a report. It's the Agila Tosseronio Automatic Aid Agreement. And be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report FD 001-2025 Agila Tosseronio Automatic Aid Agreement dated January 13, 2025, and that Council approves entering into an automatic aid agreement to provide fire, emergency, and rescue services to the Township of Agila Tosseronio. Excellent. Can I have a mover and seconder? Mr. Broderick, Mr. MacArthur, thank you so much. Chief, would you like to speak to your report and also introduce our neighboring chief who's in our audience here too?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to council. And we have Chief Matt Polizani from Agila Tosseronio.
Welcome.
And, we worked together on this agreement over the last few months. Just some more background on this. The current fire protection agreement dates back to 1998 for the community of Glen Cairn, a portion of it. Since this agreement was put in place decades ago, there has been some more residential development and changes in the community, and township officials have seen the need to adjust our agreement to expand the boundaries just to provide a better service down that portion of their community. And the details are in the report. They're offering cost recovery for callouts and a standby fee, as well as providing specialty rescue services for the entirety of Agila Tosseronio, which is ice water rescue and rope rescue. And I'm available for any questions.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Council, I'd love to give the opportunity for His Worship Scott Anderson, if you'd like to say anything about this agreement. Just please come right up to the microphone. Be happy and honored to have you here.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to give my credit to Clearview Fire and Clearview Council for looking at revising this agreement from 1998. And we are in the end looking at better service for community, most notably in the Glen Cairn area. Response times are important. So, the quickest unit to get on scene to a medical call or an MVC is certainly so I thank Your Worship and members of council for considering this.
Thank you so much, Your Worship. Thank you for being here tonight. Members of council, now, do you have any questions to anyone here? Yes, Mr. Deputy Mayor, please go right ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. And I'll throw this question out to both fire chiefs. And you've heard me ask this question before, but with our neighbors being here tonight, have we had any further discussion about how to fight fires on EVs? And we got a situation starting here in Clearview shortly. We've already had to deal with some of the best programs. I don't know if you've had to deal with that in Agila Toss yet, Your Worship, but anyways, I did have a talk when I was at AMO last year. I did talk with the electrical ESA about what are you doing about BESS sort of thing. And anyways, I want to keep planting that seed as we are more EVs coming into our community, more stations. I don't know if you watched TV this past weekend. It was the first time I seen the ESA has put out an initiative to say, if you are putting a charging station in, you must get a permit for it. Never seen that before, but that was on the TV this weekend. So anyways, can I just get a comment and see if there's something together we can talk about here?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'll just give a little background. So the ESA getting involved with permitting for the charging stations is a huge step because really that's where the biggest risk is charging them at your home, in your garage. As far as fighting EV fires, it is changing constantly. The best approach for this, essentially, it's neutralize the area as best you can and just keep putting water on it until it goes out. Essentially, they're coming out with new technology on how to, approach it, how to get into the battery compartment itself, but really, there's no concrete attack plan for these vehicles.
Well, I keep throwing the idea out, and I know that's what's being said right now, but it's something that our rural fire departments are going to be dealing with more and more. And I just wait for the first accident that happens in our community, where we had it happen in Toronto already, where somebody's lost their life on a vehicle that locked up. We saw what happened in Florida with the fires that were caused by EV stations and stuff. So just keep it in mind. That's all I ask. And when you see stuff, please let us know. So.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any other questions from council in regards to this report? No. I'd have a quick question. Any one of the three, you can answer it. And that is, can you just assure us that the training of volunteers and interoperational training, we have an understanding about the fact that your fire crews in Adgetos and our fire crews here in Clearview speak the same speak and use the same kind of tools. They have procedures that are established, and hose fittings and so on are all interchangeable. I would assume that would be the case. You're nodding your head, so I approve that. I think that's what you're saying, Chief, but go ahead.
To your worship, that's correct. We do train together. Every year we go out and train with them for ice water rescue, just so we can show them what we need from Adgetos firefighters when we're on scene. And they've also come out for our tanker shuttle training. So all of our appliances work together.
All right. Thank you very much. And your worship, your comments about the response time is really important. So absolutely glad that this agreement is being renewed, and thank you for attending here tonight. Members of council, if there's nothing further, council, we have a mover and a seconder on a motion. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much for your participation. Nice. Changing glasses again because I have to get my bifocals. Anyway. At this time, we have the establishment of our regular fire department bylaw. So this is FD 002. Be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report FD 002, the establishment and establish and regulate fire department bylaw dated January 13, 2025, and that item 1, the bylaw to establish and regulate the fire department be presented at the January 13, 2023 meeting for approval. Okay, mover and seconder, please. Looking this way, Deputy Mayor and Mr. Broderick. Thank you. Chief, do you have anything you want to add to that? It's also a good report.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to council. This report is obviously about updating our established and regulating bylaw just to keep up with changing provincial legislation, specifically the requirements to train to NFPA standards that come into effect July 1st of 2026. So we're just getting ahead of the ball here. All of our firefighters are in compliance already to the standard for firefighting. And the second would be the requirement for a community risk assessment. So the risk assessment has been completed, and we're required to update that periodically.
All right. Thank you very much. Any members of council with any questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Chief Davidson, have you heard anything from the county yet in regards to their new hire for emergency measures to be working with us? I just want to see if you've heard from them.
Through your worship, I did hear briefly, we do have a meeting tomorrow afternoon where they're going to outline how they're going to be assisting us more. I believe it's mainly for training and compliance. I believe they had 2 more hires for this year to help us with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of council with any questions? All right, seeing none, we have a mover and seconder on the motion. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Just to wrap up the fire department things, I just want to say thank you very much to all of our volunteer firefighters, both in your community and in our community, as they continue to serve and protect our community every single day, right through Christmas. I mean, they all worked right through the holidays, so we appreciate them very, very much. Thanks very much. All right, council, we're going to move on to the finance department. We have FIN 001. This is the interim tax bylaw 2503. Recommendation be it resolved that council of the township of Clearview hereby receive report FIN 001 2025, the interim tax bylaw 25-03, and it's dated January 13, 2025. Item 1, that the interim tax bylaw be presented at the January 13, 2025 meeting for approval. Mr. Deputy Mayor, moving, seconded by Mr. Broderick again. Thank you. Madam Treasurer, Madam Treasurer, there you are. There she is. Hi. Hi, Kelly. Just quickly explain why this is the interim tax bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to the rest of council. What this bylaw allows is for the tax collector to send out the interim tax bills. They're prepared at the beginning of February, and then they'll go out in the mail with due dates. We're suggesting the first be March 31st. The second due date would be May 30th. And then the final taxes, which are calculated after the tax rate bylaws goes, we're looking at July 31st and September 30th. This just allows us that permission to go ahead and bill that first 50% of the prior year taxes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. If I can, just to the CAO as information, I would hope that we do our best to promote those dates through the review of the council meeting, report that comes out every after following every council meeting, and perhaps lean on our advertising budget to see if we can promote those exact dates. Thank you very much. Members of council, any questions to the treasurer? No questions? All right, we have a motion in front of us. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Temporary borrowing bylaw. This is also routine. We pass this every year, and as long as I've been here, I don't think we've ever used it. Nevertheless, report FIN 002, the temporary borrowing bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved that council of the township of Clearview hereby receive report FIN 002 2025 temporary borrowing bylaw 2025 dated January 13, 2025. And item 1, that the temporary borrowing bylaw be presented at the January 13, 2025 meeting for approval. Can I ask Mr. Beelan? Thank you. And Mr. Walker, thank you. And Madam Treasurer, do you have anything you want to say about that?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to comment that this is the 20-year anniversary of us actually having to use this.
Yeah.
It's just strictly a line of credit on our main account that should we need it, it's like an overdraft protection. But as you can see, we don't tend to need it.
That's right. Like I said, we pass this every year as a precautionary thing, which is actually part of our due diligence to make sure that we can maintain our operations and our tax collecting and operations of the municipality every year. And we have never had to draw upon it, but we have to do this every year. Appreciate that. Members of council, any questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Kelly, what rate do we borrow at? Doesn't say it
There's
in the
multiple
report.
rates.
Ouch. Through your worship to the deputy mayor, that depends. So for this particular facility, I would have to actually reach out to the bank because we haven't used it in so long. I think the current borrowing rate for just regular loans is around, I want to say 4.5%. There may be a bit of a premium with it being an overdraft, but there is the potential for that to be a little bit lenient with us.
So we don't borrow on a floating rate basis, we borrow on a fixed rate basis?
I would have to look into it for this. As I said, we haven't used it in 20 years, but I believe it's a flat rate.
Okay. There has been a bit of discussion over the years with the county about possibly pooling some funds and
Yes,
stuff like that.
pooling,
So I know we don't need the money right now, and we are lucky, but there's some challenges coming in the future. We may, and so I just want to make sure we're on top of what we're borrowing at. So that we don't get the surprises. And there's been so many turnovers with the bank as well. So yeah, if you could let us know how that works so that we know if we have options as the council to borrow different ways, then we should know about them. So appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions to the treasurer? Seeing none. All right, council, we have a mover and a seconder on a motion. I am prepared to call the motion. Those in favor? Also unanimous. Thank you very much. Legislative Services, Madam Clerk, I can't believe it. We're going to talk about elections. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 001-2025, the Municipal and School Board Election 2026 voting provider, dated January 13, 2025. And item 1, the council approves using Simply Voting in accordance with the Township's procurement bylaw 17-20 to provide internet and telephone voting services for the 2026 municipal school board election. Mover and seconder? Councillor Deneen. Is there a seconder? Mr. MacArthur, thank you very much. All right, Madam Clerk, would you like to talk to us about elections?
Thank you, Your Worship. Normally, I don't like to talk about this early in the
I
game.
know. So I'm thinking, what are you doing?
I know, but it is important for us to secure a voting vendor. As you can see in my report, there was 3 key vendors that provided this services, internet and telephone voting. One of them, through some rumors, I couldn't find an actual document that say that they weren't providing that service, but through the clerks group, one of them isn't providing that service anymore. So really that only leaves 2 vendors to provide good customer service. Sometimes they'll put a cap on the amount of clients that they will use. So I wanted to ensure that we got a reputable company, one that we're comfortable with, and one that provided great customer service, because that's always key for us clerks when we're doing an election, because it's the most stressful time of our career every 4 years. So Simply Voting has a great track record. They have security measures in place, same as other internet and telephone providers. They do have a green component to their software. They've reduced their carbon footprint, which is why we have climate under there as one of our strategic plan initiatives. And their customer service is really great. They do have demos on their website, but they're changing their voting platform a little bit. So I didn't want to include that in because it'll look a little bit different by 2026. So they will have that ready and up and going, I think, by the end of this year. And in 2022, they provided voting services for 50 Ontario municipalities. And I believe Romero used them last year for their by-election.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Any questions to the clerk? Deputy Mayor? Any questions? No? Okay, go ahead.
Is this the same company we used last election?
No, last election we used Dominion Voting because they were able to provide internet and telephone plus the paper-based voting method with tabulators. So Dominion Voting was able to provide all 3, like a hybrid voting method, which is why that one was chosen. In the past, when we've done internet and telephone voting, we used IntelliVote. And that's the 3rd company that can be used.
Are we going strictly virtual in the coming election? Are we going paperless, I should say? Or what's our plan?
That is correct. So council voted in June of last year to just do internet and telephone voting. So if this report's approved tonight, my next bylaw will come on June or January 27th to approve that as your alternative voting method. So it'll be just the last little cherry on top to this process. But council already approved no paper ballots, internet and telephone voting this time.
Good. Thank you for the reminder.
FYI, elections are always on the mind of the clerks. Always. That's been my experience anyway. I've noticed that. Yes, Mr. Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just wondering why there's no other companies listed on here for their prices. Is that because we're already dealing with VoterView or?
Through your worship to Councillor Beelan. So like I said in my report, there was 3 companies at the time that used to provide this services. Dominion Voting is the one that we've heard is no longer doing internet and telephone. I did reach out to the 2nd vendor. I did not get proper responses back, and they weren't ready to provide quotes, which kind of told me that maybe they were at their cap for customers. So that's why we went with the 3rd one. And that's why I'm using under a procurement bylaw that there's only it's kind of single sourcing. There's only one vendor to provide this who has a reputable reputation that we're willing to use for our election. That's huge with us.
Right. And is there anybody else? Any other members of council? Nope, seeing none. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members of council, you have a motion in front of you with a mover and seconder. I am prepared to call the motion. Those in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right. We've got another report from the Legislative Services Department. Updated records retention bylaw. Honestly, we don't talk about this issue very often, so it's great to have this report. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 002-2025. This is updated records retention bylaw dated January 13, 2025. Item 1, the council approve the updates made in the draft records retention bylaw attached as Appendix A to this report. And item 2, that a bylaw establishing the retention periods of township records be presented to council at the regular council meeting on January 27, 2025. Council, can I get a mover and seconder on this bylaw? Mr. Walker and Ms. Deneen, thank you. All right. Now, Emma, there she is. Hi. She's double duty here tonight. She's also running our cameras, but she did write this report. So, Emma, would you like to bring up anything, speak to this report and perhaps be available for questions?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Council. As the Records Management Coordinator, I was tasked with doing a deep dive into our Records Management bylaw. It hasn't been updated in quite some time, and this bylaw governs the records management program of our municipality. The Schedule A is the retention schedule, and it is organized into primary headings, as you will see, that are the common areas of the municipality's work. And then they're further broken down into class codes, which capture most of the records that we create. The retention period is set for each class code based on legislation and also the township's needs. So I met with each department head and various other staff members to make sure that the bylaw and the retention schedule met their needs. That's the updated bylaw that is in front of you now, and I've highlighted various updates in my report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Are there any questions to the staff on this important report? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I noticed that in your report that in the past we required a sign off from our auditors, and we no longer are requiring that. So we can do it. Our treasurer has the authority now to sign off and say goodbye.
We're going to go to the treasurer first on this, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Deputy Mayor. I believe what we had the auditors signing off on was the original policy and bylaw, just to ensure that we were meeting financial retention requirements. Once that's been done, we will update them with the new bylaw, but it's not so much a sign off as it is for your information report to them.
So we don't have to get approval from our auditors to say, okay, yeah, thank you.
All right. Members of council, are there any other questions? No. No further questions. Em, I just want to state that the records management has dramatically improved in my time that I've been here, and I also want to state for the record, I have never been inside the records vault. It's over in the other building. Never once have I ever been set foot inside there, and that's fine. But I think that it's important to note that it's a very secure facility and as well maintained with proper heating and air conditioning and so on to protect the documents that are in there and fire protection as well. And so I'm glad that you have access to that, and I hope that you can assure us that it's a lovely spot. It's nice and organized, right? Sure, thanks. I would have no idea what to do in there, so thank you very much for doing what you're doing. Thanks for your work on this report. Members of council, we have a mover and a seconder on a report. Are you prepared to call it? I'm prepared to call it. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous again. Thank you. Well done. Okay, actually, next page. Sorry. Okay, we have a report here from the CAO. This is the Creemore Downtown Streetscape Study Plan. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report CAO 001-2025, the Creemore Downtown Streetscape Study Plan, dated January 13, 2025, for information. Mover and seconder for this? Mr. Walker. Mr. MacArthur, thank you very much. And John, would you like to speak to this report briefly?
Thank you, Your Worship. The report basically speaks for itself, but just a high-level view that there's actually two phases to the report. One is approximately 38,000 and the other section's 28. The BIA, the Creemore Community Foundation, and the township are sharing those costs. For the 38,000, it would roughly be $12,600 each. And for the 28,000, it's roughly around 9,500. And again, this is an economic issue for Creemore, the BIA. They would like to see the streetscape, some ideas come forth. Now, depending on what the final product will be, to a certain extent, it could be very expensive or it could be affordable, it might be taken on in chunks, but there's no decision on any capital work as a result of this. The planning document will then give us an idea of what the community wants and what our capabilities would be at that time.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to being kept up to date by this committee and by this work. And I know that there will be some public engagement processes moving forward. So I look forward to attending that along with our citizens to give us their input on what they see and hope to see for their future of the downtown of Creemore.
Just to that point, Your Worship, they've just added 2 more community meetings and we'll get an additional bill for that. But they just added that last week. And the idea is to get as much community consultation as possible. We'll make sure that council has those dates. I think you might find it interesting to attend.
Absolutely.
And to hear what the discussions are about. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Members of council, you have any questions? Yes, Mr. Beelan?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wondering how much is in the economic development budget? You said it's coming from there. How much percent is that of our total economic development budget?
So our 2004 budget, we really hadn't spent. So there was 50,000 there. And then there's going to be 50,000 in the 2025 budget as well.
Well, of 120 is in there?
There's a significant reserve, but we've actually budgeted what we want to spend each year. So this is really an initiative coming out of 2024.
Okay.
So this is information to council. We agreed to support this in 2024. So it'll come out of that 50,000 allotment, which will be underspent from our perspective. And then there's 50,000 for the 2025 budget proposed.
Thank you.
All right. Any other members with any questions? Did you have something else, Paul? Yeah.
Thank you. Just we talk about our community newspapers, and I saw the announcement in the Creemore Echo this past weekend, and I see our councillor MacArthur is on that committee. I see there's other organizations have also been joined, being the Creemore area ratepayers and stuff. Are we the only 3 financially participating organizations, or will some of these other organizations also participate financially?
As it relates to this study, it's just the 3 organizations. We may have an opportunity to draw other support if it leads to capital works. But no, just the 3 that I've listed today, the BIA, the Creemore Foundation, and us.
Okay.
And we have actually a 3rd member appointed now. So it's Councillor MacArthur, Briar Kelly, our economic development person, and Patty Kennedy, our manager of engineering, is going to be on the committee as well.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing further? Council, you have a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call the motion. Motion to receive. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, council, we have our bylaw section here. We have a few bylaws to read. So first one is bylaw 2501. You know, at the beginning of the year, I always wonder what bylaw is going to be the first bylaw of the year. And the clerk and I like to joke about this a little bit. And sure enough, it turns out to be one that I'm not happy that it's this one, but nevertheless, it's the fees and charges bylaw left over from 2024 motion that we had. So here we are, recommendation be it resolved, bylaw 2501 being a bylaw to establish the fees and charges for services or activities provided or done on behalf of the corporation of the Township of Clearview be presented or read a first, second, and third time finally passed 13th day of January 2025. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Mr. Broderick. Any questions on the bylaw? All in favor? Bylaw carries. Thank you. Item 2, bylaw number 2, temporary borrowing bylaw. Be it resolved, bylaw 2502 being a bylaw to authorize a temporary borrowing of monies to cover current expenditures until taxes or other revenues are collected in or received, be presented over the first, second, and third time, finally passed the 15th day of January 2025.
13th.
Oh, sorry, 13th. Sorry, you're right. 13th. Deneen, thank you. Beelan, thank you. Bylaw's been read. Any questions? All those in favor? The bylaw carries. Thank you. Interim tax levy bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved, bylaw 2503 being a bylaw to levy an interim tax for the year 2025, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed 13th day of January 2025. Mr. Walker, thank you. Mr. Beelan, you'll be the seconder since you jumped so quick. All those, or you've heard the bylaw? Any questions? All those in favor? Are those opposed? Did I see, are all those, can I have that vote again, please? All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? There are none. Thank you. Carries. You guys are confusing me here. Committee of Adjustment appointment, Mr. Councillor MacArthur. This is actually kind of a routine thing, but we do have a bylaw to reappoint Councillor MacArthur to the Committee of Adjustment. Be it resolved that bylaw 2504, being a bylaw to appoint a council member to the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment, be presented, read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of January 2025. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Mr. Broderick. You've heard the bylaw. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call it. All those in favor? Abstaining? Okay.
Conflict.
It's not a conflict.
Abstaining.
Abstaining is fine. The bylaw carries. Establish and regulate the fire department. Be it resolved that bylaw 2505, being a bylaw to establish and regulate the Township of Clearview Fire Department, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of January 2025. Mr. Walker, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? And the bylaw carries. Thank you very much, Council. Flipping the page. Automatic aid agreement with the Agilitas Oronio. Be it resolved that bylaw 2506, being a bylaw to enter into an automatic aid agreement to provide fire, emergency, and rescue services to the Township of Agilitas Oronio, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of January 2025. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, second by Mr. MacArthur. You've had your bylaw. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And the bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, Council, notice of motion or any new business? I did mention it earlier. We got to get together for coffee with Council and get a public discussion going on again. You know, we'll have to find a good coffee shop and take over the coffee shop for the day. Okay? I'll just let you know what we're planning here. We'll do that sometime in February, March. Might be fun. That's something I wanted to share with you guys. If there's nothing further, we'll go to confirmatory bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved, the bylaw 2507, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the January 13, 2025 council meeting, be presented and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on the 13th day of January 2025. Mr. MacArthur, Mr. Broderick, thank you very much. You've heard the bylaw. Any questions? I'll call the motion. All in favor? Bylaw carries. That's okay. I'm watching. Madam Clerk, can you give me the time?
7:04.
7:04. Recommendation be it resolved that the council meeting be adjourned at 7:04. Councillor Deneen, thank you. Councillor Walker, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, staff.